maybe we'll...
Yes, I've started the recording.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for having us today. We're super excited to present to you our social media and digital marketing campaign for Kansas City as a host city for World Cup 2026. We'll get started by introducing the group. I'm Melissa McClure. Go to the next slide.
I'm Emery Duggar.
I'm Tyler Patman.
I'm Grace Prowett.
I'm Jake Brown.
I'm Dave Bodner. And I'll pass it to the next slide.
So our problem statement is to create a positive, engaging social experience to drive foot traffic to the Kansas City FIFA World Cup and Fan Fest by increasing channel social media awareness to support our target market segment for the KC2026. Next slide.
Yeah, and just going through some of our research, we'll present our SWOT analysis here. We won't go through all of the details, but I'll take your attention to a couple key points. So definitely the strengths of Kansas City as a host city, the popularity of soccer, it being the soccer capital of America. There are already world-class facilities, really central access to the entire Midwest with great support from local soccer teams and major league soccer teams. Some of the weaknesses that we anticipate are the fact that Kansas City is not a normal international destination for travel. Resources and budget are always things that we can look at, and soccer is really growing in popularity in the U.S., definitely leading into opportunities to showcase Kansas City in the Midwest, really solidifying Kansas City as a destination worthy of revisiting for non-soccer experiences as well. We're going to strengthen some of these strategic partnerships and collaborations. And then threats that we can anticipate and help mitigate include weather, whether that is something just regular weather or severe weather. Any regulation changes, we just came through a pandemic. There's things that we will anticipate and work through with that, but really just looking forward to a great event, and then also being mindful of competitor events that we might have too. But this is our general overview of kind of our strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats. Next slide, please.
So looking at the social media audit for the Kansas City World Cup 2026 current social media channels, there's three main channels that are currently available: Facebook, Instagram, and X. So as you can see from the chart on the left, X has the most posts per channel, with Instagram and Facebook really having a smaller piece of that pie, which is definitely an opportunity when looking at the audit to increase the amount of posts that are being created for those two channels. X, there's a lot of reposts from various different soccer accounts. So we want to increase the posts that we see from Facebook and Instagram. And a lot of the posts are mirrored and that brand is consistent across the accounts. As far as followers per social media channel, so X, along with the most amount of posts, also has the most amount of followers, almost at 10,000. Instagram has the next, which is around 9,000. And then Facebook had the most opportunity for improvement. They had 7,000 followers. So we wanted to make sure we knew the current state of the social media accounts so we could look on how to improve that moving forward. Next slide.
The objectives of our social media marketing campaign focus around three different things. And the first one is to increase awareness, and our first two SMART goals kind of capture this overarching idea of increasing the awareness of the event. And so the first SMART goal is to increase website traffic by 7%, and to optimize the Kansas City World Cup awareness and we'll do this by utilizing search engine optimization along with social media optimization. The second SMART goal also captures that overarching goal of increasing the awareness, and the goal specifically is to increase social media reach by 15% on Instagram and 10% on X, again by January 2025. This is the main tactics used here are going to be utilizing influencers and social media ads. The second overarching goal is to increase the engagement of social media. Specifically, our goal is to increase the average number of likes by 5% on Instagram posts and increasing comments by 2% on X, again, by that same January 1st deadline. Specifically, we'll be utilizing individual account analytics and posting the Kansas City 2026 World Cup content. And then these 3 goals will hopefully funnel into a higher conversion rate of social media engagement and awareness into actual ticket sales and in-person engagement, both or in-person and online attendance in the World Cup at Kansas City. Go to the next slide.
So next, we're going to review some of the insights before we talk about our target audience. We're going to take a look at the growth in the American market as far as soccer goes. So to start off, there's a sense of belonging and community with the game. Soccer creates a bond through emotion and culture. It's also readily available through social media. It's accessed very easily that way, makes deeper connections, and then it also requires minimal equipment to participate, so engaging more and reaching broader audiences. There's a real growth in youth and MLS community. So in America, there's about 3 million youth participants in soccer, and then MLS is becoming a global contender, an increased fan base. So that only increases the American market as well as it grows globally. There's also a very active fan base, and there's that economic impact as well with that. So fans are really active participants in the game day events. They show strong support and a lot of passion for the game and for their teams. For every 1,000 Americans, about 14 of them have spent or are spending money on soccer merchandise. And then there's also the fact that the United States is starting to host those international games, such as the FIFA World Cup games and the Copa America. That all increases, again, the engagement in the audience. And so the target audience there, first looking at internationally, the soccer fan base has about a 40% global interest. The UEFA alone attracts over 400 million viewers. And then in the United States, there's about an 83 high participating fan base. So that includes those fans who actually go ahead and purchase tickets, purchase merchandise, follow on social media, and are really active in that sports and soccer community. So then looking a little bit more at our specific buyer personas, our first is Tom Sports Dad. He is a 40-year-old married father of 2. I'm going to read his quote, kind of gives a good background to him. He says, "I want to encourage my kids' love for soccer and bring them a once-in-a-lifetime event in Kansas City." So he is Kansas City based. His children are involved in those youth soccer programs. His extra finances are allocated to those kids' activities and soccer games. He's a real proponent user of Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, so aligns with those social channels Kate mentioned earlier. And then he's really involved in his children's sports and the Kansas City community. So Kansas City 2026 World Cup really gives him that opportunity to merge those 2 interests and create lasting memories with his family. And then some of his influences are coaches and athletes, everything from his children's coaches to the pro sports.
Yeah, so our next one is Chad, is one of the sports enthusiasts. He's the guy that his whole life revolves around sports. Everything he does is about sports. He grew up watching sports, going to sports games with his dad. This is a guy that might not live in the Kansas City area, but he lives in that Midwest region that we're also focusing on. And he's a guy that just do anything in order to be a part of a great sports atmosphere. And so you see Chad, he's very active on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, X, YouTube, on all platforms, right, to really engage and stay up to date with what's going on in the sports world. He uses a lot of those extra finances that's allocated to the sporting events, maybe being on things like FanDuel and all these apps in order to, be involved in sports as much as he possibly can. He has a desire to share his passion for sports with people. And so being a part of an atmosphere like the World Cup is something that he would be extremely excited about and brings him tons and tons of joy. And he's just heavily influenced by the sports world and sports figures that he has grown up watching and still watches to this day. Next slide.
Okay, so our content summary. Next slide. Next. So we're gonna, like I mentioned earlier, focus based on our buyer personas and our SMART goals, our posts and content on 3 social media channels, Facebook, X, and Instagram, the already established channels. The first post will be weekly, and that'll be local KC posts, so highlighting local activities, restaurants, events related to bring more information to our followers about things they can do in Kansas City. The second one would be at X. That's a local national soccer page repost of soccer highlights, just to keep soccer fans engaged and aware of the account and what's going on, and keep them excited about soccer. Instagram, the next post would be a paid ad highlighting FanFest and encouraging people to RSVP. That's going to be part of our paid media. The next one would be a post that would also be weekly across Facebook, X, and Instagram, and that's just reposting any news that's come from FIFA, just to keep people aware of any World Cup updates. The next post would be on X, which of FanFest image promotion, also another paid post. The Facebook post would be bi-weekly, and that would be a logistics infographic. We know there'd be a lot of questions about the logistics of the event, so we want to make sure our patrons are informed and don't have any questions, and have a forum to get answers to their questions. The next one is Instagram, and this is going to be a local sports hashtag campaign. Participants will post photos, use the Kansas City World Cup hashtag, and this is really falling into our experience strategy as well, where we're going to drive that piece. And it's also an example of earned media, where we'll be using our users and their free promotion of the hashtag. And that'll be a one-time event for 14 days in August. Then we have our Facebook, X, Instagram post. That'll be FIFA schedule updates and reposts as that's published. And then finally, Instagram, that'll be influencer pre-recorded messages, alternating between micro, power, and celebrity influencers. And if you go to the next slide. So here's 2 example posts from our content strategy. So on the left, you see the FanFest image promotion post. So we're really having a call to action to have followers RSVP and follow us, and have them get an RSVP code where they can go to the website, get more information about FanFest, and follow the account. And you can see at the bottom, we have that hashtag that's going to be consistent for our branding that we'll have in all of our posts, to help really build the brand. And on the right, you'll see an example of celebrity influencer posts. So this would be Patrick Mahomes and Brittany Mahomes, who would be our celebrity influencers and have a really strong impact, not only in Kansas City, but across the football and soccer world. So this would be calling them to follow the account to hear more what's in store from Patrick and Brittany Mahomes for their updates for the World Cup. Next slide.
Yeah, so on our social zones, we plan to utilize all 4. Obviously, one of the biggest ones for us is building through the social community. And so just building that loyal fan base by creating a unified social space through Facebook pages and groups, and just building up, like I said, that fan base that we can have in order to really build that loyal group that is always on our pages, always interacting. And we plan on engaging them through obviously kind of our own media, and helping them to understand what is going on during the entire World Cup. And that's how we'll keep them engaged. We plan on using social publishing. That could be something that we can build a blog on our website, which will really help us to really develop that website traffic and play a major role in increasing our SEO. Social entertainment will also play a big role, as we talked about, creating branded games and quizzes on all platforms to engage our fan base as well. And then lastly, social commerce will come into play as we begin to roll out events and games, right? And we really, plan on challenging our fan base to create the UGC posts that include pictures and videos of branded gear and events that they can tag, links in that direct people to purchase potential tickets, gear, and things in order to attend our events. Next page.
Who's the best midfielder ever?
Zidane.
Yep. So our budget's pretty simple. It just kind of aligns with all what we talked about. sponsored Google links for search engine optimization, paid Instagram and X ads, and then influencers to use across the board. And then the budget is $500,000, and each month throughout the campaign, there'll be about a 5% increase. This is just to see if we can get more visibility as the event nears. And because the budget is lower, lower production costs, like photos will start in the beginning and then ending with a higher engagement platform like videos towards the end with that also associate with higher budget costs. So pretty simple. We can go on the next slide.
And this is just a little taste of kind of how we integrated our objectives and strategies and really the tactics to achieve those SMART goals. And this can be referenced in the packet that we'll provide you too, but just a highlight of those general awareness goals, for example, and then kind of the strategies that we're using with the objectives. Again, we've kind of gone over this, but specific tactics, and we'll provide all of that to you as well. Next slide.
And similar to what Melissa said, we can you'll see this in the packet, but you see the overarching goals of increasing the awareness and the increasing engagement and kind of the buckets that those SMART goals and all the other campaigns and content strategies, all they kind of fall into this. So this is just an overarching summary of kind of everything we talked about, and you guys can look it over at your leisure. And I appreciate you guys. We all appreciate you guys coming to listen to our social media marketing campaign for the Kansas City World Cup. Thank you.